The content of this meeting is being sent to a third party. Got it. The content of this meeting is being sent to a third party. Got it. The content of this meeting is being sent to a third party. Got it. Why does it keep saying that? The content of this meeting is being sent to a third party. Got it. Why does it keep saying that? Are you guys hearing that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hearing it.
And it says on my screen, this meeting is being live streamed.
Why does it keep saying that?
Is there a place to click
Are you guys
OK?
hearing that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hearing it.
Can I click the OK on this is being live
Yes.
streamed on my
Yeah.
screen?
Yeah, if you have
This meeting is being live streamed.
Yes. Yes, go ahead. Why does it keep saying that?
Is there a place to click
Are you
OK?
guys hearing that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hearing it.
Can I click the OK?
Yes.
I didn't say
Please.
this is being live
Yes.
streamed on my
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah, if you have
This meeting is being live streamed.
Yes. Yes, go ahead. Why does it keep saying that?
Is there a place to click
Are you
OK?
guys hearing that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hearing it.
Can I click the OK?
Yes. Deb, can you talk?
Yes. I'm talking. That was really weird what just happened.
Yeah.
It like kept repeating.
And so then I want to we'll go live in a couple minutes.
So we're all ready?
Yes.
Do you say something before I do?
Yes, I will. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Hopefully we've got some folks. There are folks who are already logging on and can hear you. and see us.
Cool.
And so I want to see if I can get a chat going in case people want to ask questions on YouTube.
Oh, well.
Um, Back in a minute.
Oh, well.
Um, okay, Deb, I'm going to stop this share and
Tell me when.
you are going to be live and you can go ahead and try to make sure things are okay here. There you go. Okay, go ahead, Deb.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to a wonderful evening of song and great stories. Hi, I'm Debbie Whiting, the daughter of Margaret Whiting, and today is her 100th birthday, and we are celebrating it with looking at videos of her from an early age up to the very end of her life. And she got better and better as time went on. I am joined tonight with my cousin Richard from Pennsylvania. And he also, you will be enjoying this because his mother, Margaret's sister Barbara, is in many of these videos. And we have lots of stories to share. And Kathy Brown is going to navigate us through this whole thing. I'm in beautiful Maine. And I think we're going to be seeing things that are going to make you very, very happy. So sit back and relax and enjoy.
Well, I had a very fortunate life. My father was Richard Whiting, and he wrote a lot of great songs. My mother was like a road company Rose in Gypsy. Yeah. She was an agent. She handled my aunt, Margaret Young, who was a big singer in vaudeville, and Sophie Tucker for a long time. And we came out to Hollywood in 1930 because my father was signed to Paris Chevalier and Jeanette MacDonald. And so my first home was the Hollywood Roosevelt. And then we moved on to a little home, and then we moved on to a little bit better home as my father did better and better. And then I used to go to the studios with him and watch them make motion pictures and see the great Lubitsch directing Marie Chevalier. And then I began to be of an age where this marvelous Johnny Mercer came into our life, came out to write with my father. He heard me sing one night at a party when I was 7 years old. He told me to grow up, and in doing so, he took me aside and he taught me oh, the joys of singing and how to phrase a lyric and how to pick a hit song. And then a few years later, he signed me to his label, Capitol Records. And I sang and made a lot of records for him, along with the wonderful Nat Cole and Stan Kenton and Peggy Lee and Kay Starr and Joe Stafford and all the other people on Capitol.
I remember when you first came out to the lodge and you brought Margaret with you a few years ago. She was just a child.
Well, my motto is start 'em young. It pays off.
Yes, and I know that Margaret inherited a great deal of talent from her talented songwriting father, Richard Whiting. I'm sure she proved to be a very apt pupil.
Oh, she was really great. You want to know that the very first record Margaret ever made was a smash, and we folks at home got a double extra thrill out of it because that song was written by her dad.
Oh.
My Ideal.
Yeah, I remember that.
Wonderful.
Oh, yes. And then she followed that right up with another great big hit. It might as well.
Lots of success in radio, nightclubs, and in television.
Oh, and then came the most pleasant time of all.
What, Maggie?
Oh, when Margaret and Lou Bush made me a great aunt. Have you ever seen their daughter?
No, but
No,
we'd love to see Deborah.
Oh, well, come on. I think Margaret's just getting her up for a nap now.
Good.
Let's go. We'll just take care of it. If they asked me, I could write a book. Way you walk and whisper and look. I could write a preface on how we met, so the world would never forget. And the simple secret of the flight is just to tell them that I love you a lot. And the world, yes, discovers as my book ends how to make two lovers a friend. Yes, darling, here. You really like Dinah Shore better than me? Here's the dolly, sweetheart. Go ahead and play with her.
Did you ever meet Dinah
Go
Shore?
ahead and laugh, sweetie.
I think so.
She's yours. Go ahead and take her. What a handful. And the world discovers as my book ends how to make two lovers a friend. Down yonder, someone's waiting for me. Down yonder, someone beckons to me. I seem to see a flash of them between the Natchez and the Robert E. Lee. Swanee Shore, I love you more and more. Every day, my mammy land, you're simply grand. Down yonder, where the folks get the news. Don't wonder at the hullabaloo's. There's Ephraim and Sammy and Granddad and Granny waiting down yonder for me.
I've been looking all over for you, Margaret. I've got a wonderful idea. How about you and I doing a duet?
A duet?
Yeah.
George, who sent you over here? Dinah Shore?
Margaret, this is my own idea.
Oh, well, listen, there's a lot of singers on this program. Have you tried?
Everybody.
Oh. Well, all right. I'll tell you what, let's ask the sportsman to join us.
How about it might as well be spring?
Wonderful. Good idea.
Do you know it?
I'll fake it.
Yeah. Well, what key does Mary Alonzo sing this in?
D flat.
One tone higher for me,
All right,
please.
fine.
I'm as restless as a willow in a windstorm. I'm as restless.
I'm as jumpy as a puppet on a string.
I'd say spring fever, but it isn't even spring.
I'm starry-eyed
and vaguely discontented, like a nightingale without a song to sing.
Oh, why must I have spring fever when it isn't even spring?
I keep wishing.
I keep wishing I was somewhere else, walking down a strange new street.
Hearing words that I have never heard from a man I've yet to meet.
I'm as busy as a
I'm
spider.
as busy as a spider spinning daydreams. I'm as giddy as a baby on a swing.
I haven't seen a crocus or a rosebud or a robin on the wing.
But it feels so
But it
good.
feels so gay in a melancholy way that it might as well be spring.
It might as well be. Hey, wait a minute, fellas. George, you can finish this.
You won't let me.
Well, yes, I will.
Would you boys like to finish it?
Yes, spring.
I'm wild again, beguiled again, a whimpering, simpering child again, bewitched, bothered, and bewildered am I couldn't sleep and wouldn't sleep. Then love came and told me I shouldn't sleep. Bewitched, bothered, and bewildered am I. Lost my heart, but what of it? He is mean, I agree. He can laugh, and I love it. Although the jokes on me, I'll sing to him each spring to him, and long for the day when I'll cling to him, bewitched, bothered, and bewildered am I, and long for the day when I'll cling to him, bewitched, bothered, and bewildered.
How about you and I?
I doing a little number.
Robert, gee, there's no scenery and we don't have any props.
No scenery. We don't have to worry about scenery. They can ad-lib something up here in Thule. What's a good number?
How about make yourself comfortable?
Make yourself comfortable? Mm-hmm. Well, just unbutton my shoes and away we go. Go.
Into the mood.
Mm-hmm. Make yourself comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Make yourself comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Make yourself comfortable, baby.
I've got some records here to put you
Make
in
yourself
the mood.
comfortable.
The phone is off the hook, so no
Make
one
yourself
can intrude.
comfortable.
I feel romantic, and the record
Make
changes
yourself
automatic,
comfortable,
baby.
Sweetheart, we hurried through the dinner, hurried through the dance, left before the picture. Why did we hurry through the dinner, hurry through the dance?
To leave some time for this, to hug a hug and kiss a kiss, and take off your shoes, dear, and loosen
Make
up
yourself
your
comfortable.
I've got some kisses here. Let's try one
Make
on
yourself
the side.
comfortable.
Let's turn the lights low while you
Make yourself comfortable, baby.
Thanks a lot for walking me home, Bob. Well, here's where I live.
Where?
Well, this vine-covered cottage.
Vine-covered cottage? Are you kidding? How could... That's what happens when you don't keep up the payments. I thought you said it was vine-covered. Boy, it's amazing how fast things grow up here.
Wait a minute, aren't you forgetting something?
Oh, yeah. Here's my half for the movies. Good night.
Why don't you come in a minute? My folks are out.
You sure?
Sure.
Sure they're not playing tennis?
Are you kidding? Playing tennis?
Yeah, well, don't laugh. It happened to me one time. Her father walked in wearing sneakers.
Honey, don't be so bashful. Well, how do you like it?
Say, it's roomy, isn't it? Looks like a Phase 3 job. For the benefit of the civilians, a Phase 3 job means we were holding the door when the house blew off.
Honey, why don't you stay a while and kind of make yourself comfortable?
Well, I don't know. It's kind of chilly in here.
Well, would you like to sit in front of the fire?
Sit in front of the fire. I'll try that.
Gee, isn't it cozy in front of the fire?
What fire? You can get Vaseline at the PX.
I love that picture. Jane Russell in underwater.
Jane Russell in underwater? Boy, she sure brings out the salmon in me. I'd go upstream with her anytime.
Well, since she's not here, well, I kind of do. Listen, I've got some records here. But the phone is off the hook, so no one can intrude. I feel romantic. Why don't you make yourself comfortable, baby?
I can read you, but my controls are frozen. Over.
Don't you like to kiss?
Yeah, I'd like to, but it's so cold up here, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to unpucker.
Well, maybe some records will get you in the mood.
Records?
Yeah. Here's some new ones. Would you like to play them?
Yo, honey. Please, don't crowd me. You'll throw me off balance. I wouldn't want to break any records.
Don't worry, you won't.
My girl.
Here's a good record with a nice title. I Need You Now.
Let me go, lover.
I'm in a mood for love.
Lady.
One night of love.
You said it, honey.
There is nothing like a dame.
Boy's best friend is his mother.
Everything I have is yours.
I got plenty of nothing.
Hug me, kiss me, squeeze me in the moonlight, and never let me go as you slip a ring on my finger and call me your wife forever. Blues.
That's a long playing hint. Sweetheart, we've hurried through the dinner, hurried through the dance, left before the picture show was through. Why did we hurry through the dinner, hurry through the dance?
To leave some time for this, to hug a hug and kiss a kiss.
That reminds me, I got an appointment with the dentist.
Hey, wait a minute, honey, before you go, wouldn't you like some champagne?
I don't know, what kind is it?
Well, it's Paul Roger. Very pink.
Let me see it.
Here, you open it.
All right.
Get the glass.
Man, this cork is stuck. Oh, I'm sorry about that chandelier.
Champagne will make you feel better.
All right. Man, that stuff gets you.
Would you like some more?
No, thanks. I'm driving the sled tonight.
Honey, come on over and sit down and kind of relax.
All right.
Take off your shoes, dear, and loosen up your tie. I've got some kisses here. Let's try one on for size. I'll turn the lights
No.
off.
Whoops. Steady.
What's the matter? Why can't you relax?
Well, I don't know. I keep expecting your father to walk in. Oh, there he is now.
Don't get up, children. I was just to a beautiful wedding. I just came from the most beautiful wedding, and the ceremony was lovely. The minister said, you take this man to be your lawful wedded husband, and what do you think the bride said?
I do.
Right. Then the minister said, you take this woman to be your lawful wedded wife, and what do you think the groom said?
I do.
I now pronounce you man and wife.
Oh, no!
Wait a minute. Just a minute. Your father can't marry us.
I got news for you. That's not my father. Good night, Reverend.
Good night.
We're having a heat wave, a tropical heat wave. The temperature's rising, it isn't surprising, she certainly can. She started the heat wave by letting her feet wave. And in such a way that the customers say that she certainly can. Gee, her anatomy. Jump to 93. Yeah, man, we're having a heat wave, a tropical heat wave. The temperature's rising, it isn't surprising, she certainly can. Fairy tales will come true. It can happen to you if you're young. For it's hard, you will find, to be narrow of mind if you're young at heart. You can go to extremes with impossible schemes. You can laugh when your dreams fall apart at the seams. And life gets so exciting with each passing day. And love is either in your heart or on the way. Don't you know that it's worth any treasure on earth to be young at heart? For as rich as you are, it is better by far to be young at heart. And if you should survive to 105, think of all you'll derive at just being alive. And this is the best part. You'll have a head start if you are a mother very young at heart.
So, what'd you think?
Wow. I was a very strange child. I mean, think about it. I'm being held in my mother's arms. She's singing, and I don't even look at her once. I'm too interested in the tech crew behind, whoever was standing in the back, and a doll. I think that's so strange. Didn't look at her once. So that should have been a message to me. But anyway, Aunt Mag, Boo Boo, we used to call
what about
her, right, Richard?
your aunt that introduced? What about the aunt that introduced you? Or
Aunt Margaret, great Aunt Margaret to us, but Aunt Margaret to Barbara and Margaret. She was a vaudevillian star, and she used to go by the name of Margaret Young, and she would sing all these kind of hard-hearted Hannah songs, you know, kind of double entendre. She was a tough broad, and she was very successful. And my grandmother was her agent, and they would go all over Detroit and New York. Was there any other place? Chicago, Richard? I think that's where.
Absolutely, traveling all over.
Yeah, and she was great. She always used to come
so,
up to
Richard,
me.
what's it like for you to see your aunt in these early years?
Well, it's
performing?
fascinating because all of this was really taking place 10 years before I was born, but yet the access to these types of films and things that have been archived and restored and made available is a relatively new phenomenon. So it's not like something I grew up being able to watch what had happened several years ago or even a couple of decades. I had no idea most of this material existed and that we could get a look at it probably until the past 4 or 5 years or so, where you and other people had been able to put their hands on these things and make them available to us. So that's really like opening a time capsule into something I had no idea I was going to be able to view as an older adult.
I think the Bob Hope USO tour films, all of them with everybody, was so important, such a morale booster to the boys and girls who were over there, you know, defending us. And they loved him. He was
So
just a great guy.
Did both Barbara and Margaret do Bob Hope USO tours?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But not together. Barbara did her own with her own little entourage. He would pick comedians, singers, actors, and someone to play off on. So Barbara probably played off of him like Margaret did in that skit, you know, because of the comedic timing that Barbara was one of our greatest comedians. But she got to travel She went to Europe, I know, with Bob for sure, because I remember as a young child seeing home movies that were a little devastating because, you know, Europe was still recovering from World War II. So it was a little sad, but she enjoyed it and Mom loved it. I mean, Mom worked great with Bob Hope. I wish they would have done more.
So were Bob and George and people like that a part of your lives?
It
Famous
was
people like that?
I would, yes. I mean, Mom socialized with these people, but I was basically I wasn't in the middle of it. I would see it from afar. As I got older, then I would attend parties and stuff, but I was pretty much tucked away. But I knew who.
What about you, Richard?
Well, but certainly much less so than in Debbie's case, because when my mother left show business years before I was born, she really made quite a clean break with the thing and moved with my father to Detroit, where he was an advertising executive. So I'd hear stories about work that she had done in the past and a few people who she knew and, you know, occasionally would get a phone call from, but it was certainly not that Hollywood stars were coming in and out of the door all of the time. It was very rare that I'd wind up getting an opportunity to interact with anybody.
I think Richard would agree with me that even the youngest of our ages, we sensed that this was a special life we were involved in. And just people meeting us or admiring our grandfather's music. We knew we were in show business. You just feel it when you're a young kid. So.
Deb, one last question about these clips. Who was the guy playing the piano for your mother in Down Yonder?
Oh, I think that was my dad, Lou Bush, and he was in character of Joe Finger's car. He became a phenomenon at Capitol Records doing ragtime. He did a ton of albums and he traveled all over the world with this act, with the bowler and the sleeve garters, and he loved the music, and he was a phenomenal pianist, but he also did, as my mother would say, legit playing, meaning anything but ragtime. But that was my dad, Lou Bush.
Richard, did you know him?
Yeah, I think I had met him a couple of times. I mean, obviously being 10 years younger than Debbie, the memories are a little bit faint.
I have a funny story.
Oh, no.
Yes, Dad and I drove across country because he wanted me to see, you know, my country, my home. And we went to visit Barbara, who had moved to Detroit, and she had just had Richard. So we came and we stayed, you know, maybe about 4 or 5 days before we continued our journey. And we have a picture of baby Richard in his stroller. And Lou has squatted down to be on the same level so Barbara could take a picture. And Richard has his head turned, looking at Lou like, who the heck are you? You're not my dad. Who are you? It was just the funniest expression. So he did meet him, but he was probably too young to remember.
Okay, so we're going to go into the next set of clips.
Okay.
And that's going to include a clip from those Whiting Girls and Margaret being one of the very few people in the whole world to ever sing the national anthem at a World Series.
Mm-hmm. And she had a very, very
so Richard, what can you tell us about what we're going to see?
Well, I believe it was the 1968 World Series and the Detroit Tigers were in it. Margaret had come to town. They'd arranged for her to sing the national anthem. And again, looking back to a time when I would have been 8 years old, I'm trying to remember the circumstance under which it was decided that I could go out onto the field with her. And the only thing I really remember about it were instructions from my father, who was imagining how many ways could this go wrong with this kid wandering out in front of live TV cameras of 40 million people watching a baseball game. And I'm pretty sure the instructions were stand there, don't move, don't sing along. The national anthem is not a tune that one dances to. Just sit quietly and wait to be led off of the field. And that's pretty much what I remember doing.
Mm-hmm. Wait till you see it again.
Nice to know you. Hello, David. Won't you come and sit down a minute? Make yourself comfortable. Grant will sit over there.
Gee, I'm certainly anxious to meet your sister, Miss Whiting. Dad's been telling me all about her.
Yes, I told him that she was a very unusual girl.
Unusual? Well, she's practically bizarre.
I sort of thought we might do the town, you know, Cerros and Macombo. I've never been in Hollywood before.
Well, I'm sure she'd love to get her. Barbara? Barbara, Mr. Crandall and David are here. Barbara, this is Miss Crandall's son, David. How do you do?
Fine, thanks.
Barbara, David wants to take you to Cerros in Macombo. Dear, I said he wants to take you to Cerros in Macombo. Oh, those old places.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you'd be bored with life.
Oh, not at all, dear boy. I'd enjoy seeing them again through your eyes, recapturing the excitement of being there for the first time, huh?
Well, some other night, maybe, you know, I just remembered something very important I've got to do.
Oh, no!
Yeah, I'm afraid so, if you'll all excuse me.
Mother, can I see you alone for a moment? What am I going to do? He's the dreamiest, and maybe he's just plain old Barbara Whiting, if you could remember where you left her. Can you hold him here for 5 minutes? I'll do my best. Margaret, dear, aren't you going to sing for us? Well, no, Mother, I don't think anybody would want to.
Good. Play the piano for her.
Oh,
You play the piano? Why, I think that's wonderful. You know, the girls always have to play for themselves. We never get anybody in here who's
Yeah, but
musical. I think it would be just wonderful if you accompanied
Well, I
Barbara on the
haven't.
piano. She's been dying to have somebody else play for her. Now, why don't you sit right down there and make yourself at home? There you are.
Well, what would you like to sing?
Well, see, do you know it had to be you?
What key do you sing it in?
Well, try the key of C.
All right.
It had to be you. It had to be you.
Now, that's the right key.
I wandered around and finally found somebody who could make me be blue, could make me be true, and even be glad just to be sad, thinking of you. Some others I've seen might never be mean, might never be cross or try to be boss, but they wouldn't do. For nobody else gave me that thrill. With all your faults, I love you still. It had to be you, wonderful you, had to be you.
Hey, you sure look different.
You don't think I really dressed like that other, do you? Huh? That was just a costume I was trying out for a school play.
Oh, what a relief.
And I Never been to Ciro's in my whole life.
Honest?
Honest. I'm a little nervous.
Well, don't worry. I'll take care of you.
Have a good time,
Bye.
kids. Sure will. Bye.
That's great.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous flight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Oh my God. Richard.
Counter to whatever devious things might have been running through my mind, I apparently held quite still. And
You
she
did.
got
You
away
looked,
with it.
you
But
look great. You
I've
look
only seen
great.
that once before. And of course, you have to remember back in this day, you didn't get to make like videotapes of things that were happening and have them. This took place, and as far as I knew, had never been captured to tape by anybody. It was a live TV of a baseball game. And I don't think I'd thought anything about it until a few years ago when you all had mentioned that you'd put access to this. And in fact, the previous one that I did get to see didn't have this quality. So I'm just amazed, embarrassed, and delighted all at the same time.
You were perfect.
What about your mom is obviously an amazing comedian. Tell us, for folks who don't know, that Margaret had a little sister, Barbara, and her own career. Tell us a little bit about your mom.
Well, absolutely. I mean, she was, I think 12 or 14 years younger or so than Margaret was. She had a pretty good singing ability herself, and in fact did perform in a couple of movies where she got to sing. The one, Dangerous When Wet, with Esther Williams, comes to mind. But I think her real talent had been as a comedian of really pretty good timing as I look back on it. These were things, again, in the day, I believe we had two 16mm copies of a couple of these episodes. So I did, growing up, occasionally get to look at reruns of these two that we had access to, but not nearly the full spectrum of things that we've seen more recently. Her life as an actress was something she'd really kind of put to the past and focused on raising me and running the family. But all of that comedy that you see in those episodes, she brought into everyday life and just behaved in a way that was a little bit larger, a little bit more funny reactions to things that would happen in the normal sort of day-to-day activities of life. So she managed to sort of keep that art and integrate it into normal life as I grew up and as we interacted with friends and other family members. So I think that was kind of a special talent and a treat to have access to, even if it wasn't something that I got to see her do on stage or on camera.
Deb, how many of those Whiting girls are there? Do you guys have?
No, we were trying to through Jim to get them, and I think there was a fire at Universal, and so back in the day, the sync and the video were two separate cans, and what either the audio or the video got destroyed. So I don't know, but I remember going down there for tapings, and that was pretty cool. Kathy, you came with me to the studios, didn't you? In California, we went to visit the Desilu Studios. that were Desilu.
Yes.
And we got to see the sound stage that Margaret did her show on. And that was really cool. We had a fun day that day. But it was pretty impressive. I remember one day the Whiting Girls were the summer shows for I Love Lucy. So when I Love Lucy was on a summer break, the Whiting Girls came in for 2 years. And I remember that Lucy was taping something. And I was, of course, young and bored. And, you know, it takes forever to set up TV with the lights and this and that. So they took me to the next studio. And there was Lucy doing one of her scenes. It was pretty cool. And I just sat in the audience with the live audience that they had brought in and got to see her do her thing. And it was pretty cool. I was very lucky to have that experience.
Neat. Okay, we're going to move into some clips from the 60s and 70s. I think I have heard you say before, Deb, that you think this was your mom's prime period in her voice.
My mother, she never sang. She never sang as good. She never looked as good. It was like she had come into herself. And she was a beautiful woman. She had just became this beautiful, sexy woman with this great, strong voice. And it was a good time.
Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let spring is like on Jupiter or Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, darling, kiss me. Fill my heart with song and let me live forevermore. 'Cause you are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. At ease in a stream, falling leaves, a sycamore, moonlight in Vermont. I see finger waves, ski trails on a mountainside, snow light in Vermont. Telegraph keep, they hum down the highway and travel each bend in the road. People who meet in this romantic setting, they're so hypnotized by that love warbling up a meadowlark, moonlight in Vermont. You and I and moonlight in Vermont.
Yeah. Great.
My mama done told me when I was a pigtail. My mama done told me, she said, a man's gonna talk and give you the big eye. But when that sweet talking's done, man is a two-faced, he's a worrisome thing who'll leave you to sing the blues in the night. The evening breeze will start the trees to riot, and the moon will hide its light when you get the blues in the night. Just take my word that mockingbird will sing that kind of song. He knows things are wrong, and he's right. From Natchez to Mobile, from Memphis to St. Joe, wherever the four winds blow. I'm in some big town, I heard me some big talk. But there is one thing I know. Man is a two-faced, he's a worrisome thing who'll leave you to sing the blues, the blues. My mama was right. There's blues in the
Now, that was a Johnny Mercer song. Tell me about the family connection with Johnny.
Well, our grandfather died at an early age, 45. He was working with Johnny at Warner Brothers, Warner Brothers, doing music for movies. And Johnny would always come over to the house, and he was a part of the family. But he kind of became like the surrogate daddy to them, to Barbara and to Margaret. Barbara was very young. Margaret was 12. And so he just was, he was a very important part to both of the girls and to Eleanor. And he was there to help them. And he was a great mentor and a great help to Margaret in her career. And I'm very jealous because Richard has a picture of he and Johnny together when he came to Detroit. And I don't have that picture. So Richard, how was that? Did you know who was standing next to you?
Well, I mean, obviously, looking back to it, I do at the time, I'm not sure, other than somebody that was important to Mother coming to the house. And the picture I've got, the one that you're discussing, I'm standing there even in earlier age than the baseball thing we looked at, probably 5 or 6, by my recollection, so it would have been 65 or 66 in the old house on the lake. And I'm standing with him with an impish grin, and we joked. My father always said I was trying to feed him lyrics to put into the next tune that he was going to write. But I'm not sure at the time I had an understanding of what a lyricist did or how that fit into sort of the overall ecosystem of all the people who came in and out of the house at the time. But looking back on it as an adult, realizing, wow, I've got a picture of me as a kid with Johnny Mercer, I think is still pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, Richard and I never would, when someone famous would come in the house, we wouldn't be like, oh my God. And, we were just like, okay, these are our peeps. So
Well,
we
except
either hung with
Debbie,
them or we didn't.
Debbie, wasn't there one person from West Side
Oh, you mean West
Story
Side
that came into
Story?
your house where you did do that?
Yeah.
Didn't your mother arrange for you to meet somebody?
Yes, West Side Story is one of my favorite musicals. And they made a movie, Natalie Wood was in it. And so we went to the premiere, which was another thing that was just very every day. Okay, we're going to another premiere. Go to the premiere. I'm absolutely glued. I know all the words and all the dancing and everything. And the next day, my mom, I guess that night, got the connection to call the gentleman who played Chico, I think it was Chico, who was supposed to be Natalie Wood's intended fiance. So I'm running around outside, swimming or doing whatever, and the doorbell rings and my mother says, get the door. She never would say, get the door. And I opened the door and there he was. And I screamed at the top of my lungs. I was like, what are you doing here? And he said, oh, I came by to say hi to you and your mom. And so she invited, and she thought it was a funny joke. I only wish she would have invited Bernardo over, but that's okay.
So we're going to go into the last chapter, I think, of her career. That sort of started with Four Girls Four.
Okay.
And so we're going to see a clip from that, and then some of the more New York cabaret kind of performances that she did. So Richard, did you go to concerts of Margaret's, or just when she was in Detroit, or did you go see her in New York?
We went to see her in New York once in a while. I remember also seeing her in a show where she was performing on stage in a play in Milwaukee at one point, but usually if they were going to come through with that group to Detroit, we'd obviously go and attend the performance. It's actually one of the opportunities where I get to see something like that from backstage, which I found more interesting than sitting in the audience, get a little bit of a glimpse of how something like that is put together. And I remember at the time it was Margaret and Rosemary Clooney, and Helen O'Connell, I think in the late 70s or early 80s.
Okay, that's a great lead into this next clip.
Okay.
Four Girls Four, take one. Margaret is sweet, but she'd rather shop than eat. She
what
starts
an ear.
at 10.
The right
Set
ear.
of the open glass to Gucci gloves. United Parcel dearly loves.
Of the Four Girls. That's adorable. I don't know my part. What's next? Oh, Helen is great. Yeah. Oh, she's doing too. You better make it four. Helen, dear, where have you been?
Still memorizing Tangerine.
Miss Helen of the Four Girls Four. Rosemary is number 3, who's always on the phone. She made her 200 cup of tea. The coffee shop gets 90 cents, so she just screws her own.
Okay,
now's your line. Yeah, now.
90 cents is too damn steep for me.
Cheap.
Clooney is great. He's lots of fun.
Well,
She'd rather
eat than run. Oh, I want to see
she never sees the sun.
Oh, yes.
Do not disturb just hangs there on her door. Oh.
Let's go ahead. There's a line here. Do you have anything to say?
No,
Not yet. Your line.
What?
You don't know what it is.
Do not disturb is hanging there on the door. Now,
What?
she's always sleeping in her room. That's what we all assume. It's cloning.
Well, they're full of shit.
That's what.
All right.
There are princes giraffes abound, but as a group we're relatively new.
For each of us, the other three are nice to have around, and so are each and every one of you. It's true. Well, it's time to run. It's been marvelous fun, and we've enjoyed this evening to the core. We love you all, and that's a fact. But now it's time to get our act together for you people we adore. Please don't forget. Please don't forget. Please don't forget your
I had a wonderful thing happen in New York about 5 months ago. I have the nicest neighbor. He lives across the street on 6th Avenue in the Trump building. And I think one day he may be going to do all right. Tony Bennett. Tony stopped me on the street one day and said, "Come here, I want to talk to you. I'm going to do an album called Here's to the Ladies. And I want you to be in it. I want to salute you. Now, I have 2 songs that I picked that kind of belong to you. Moonlight in Vermont and My Ideal, your father's song. Which one would you want me to do?" And I looked at him for a moment and I said, "Well, since my sister and I get all the royalties from that song, I'd love to have you do My Ideal." He said, "That's what I thought you'd say." I said, "If you record that, I'll be able to eat out for a whole year." So surprise, I knew he was going to do that, but when the album came out, there was Moonlight in Vermont too. Nicest man. So here's the other one. Long ago, my heart and mind got together and designed a wonderful boy for me. Oh, what a fantasy! Though the idol of my heart can't be ordered a la carte, I wonder if he will be always a fan to see. Will I ever find the boy in my mind, the one who is my ideal? Maybe he's a dream, and yet he may be just around the corner, waiting for me. Will I recognize that light in his eyes that no other eyes reveal? Or will I pass him by, never even know that he was my ideal, was my ideal.
It's 2:45. There's no one in the place except you and me. So set 'em up, Joe. I got a little story that you ought to know. We're drinking, my friend, to the end of a brief episode. So make it one for my baby and one more for the road. I've got the routine, so drop another nickel in the machine. I'm feeling so bad, I wish you'd make the music dreamy and sad. Could tell you a lot, but you've gotta be true to your code. So make it one for my baby and one more for the road.
All right, well, Margaret, this is not your first visit here with us at the Opry. If my memory serves me correct, this possibly is about your third time here with us.
That's right.
And you've also made personal appearances with all of our boys and girls all over the 48 states and up in Canada. You're a wonderful person. I know they've enjoyed working with them, haven't you?
Well, I certainly have enjoyed working with them.
And every one of these thousands and thousands of people viewing in tonight would like to hear you sing a song.
Well, I was glad you asked me that. I'm mighty anxious to get
Wonderful.
to work.
Strike up the band, gentlemen.
We always have to flip around. Flipping around. Afraid we might be found. I know I can't forget you, and I've gotta have you near. Well, we just have to flip around to be together, dear. Oh, I'm tied up with someone else. You're all tied up too. I know I've made mistakes, dear, but I'm so in love with you. I hope someday I'll find a way to bring you back to me. Then I won't have to flip around to have your company. Oh, I'm tied up with someone else. You're all tied up too. I know I've made mistakes, dear, but I'm so in love with you. I hope someday I'll find a way to bring you back to me. Then I won't have to slip around. I won't have to slip around to have your company.
I can't help it if I'm still in love with you.
Today I saw you on the street, and my heart fell at your feet. I can't help it if I'm still in love with you. Somebody else stood by your side, and she looked so satisfied. I'm still in love with you. A picture from the past came slowly stealing as I brushed your arm and stood so close to you. And suddenly I got that old time feeling. I can't help it if I'm still in love with you. A picture from the past came slowly stealing as I brushed your arm and stood so close to you. And suddenly I got that old time I can't help it if I'm still in love with you. I can't help it if I'm still in love with you.
So, what, Richard, first to you, when you see 50 years of your aunt singing, what's the emotion that it evokes for you? What do you feel about that?
Well, it's sort of a complicated thing because it is stretched over a long period of time, but her voice is one of the most recognizable things in the world. So it always kind of compresses time into a thing that doesn't seem to move very much, even though the pictures are, spanning decades there. I get a real kick out of hearing her come on the radio when we're not expecting it. And, she's just sort of there for a minute, which is something that gives a good sense of continuity and feeling a connection to the whole thing that came out of the Whiting music business. And, of course, both Margaret and my mother are gone at this point. I never knew Richard, but through some of these tapes and videos and things that we get to look at a little bit, it's kind of like getting to maintain the connection every once in a while, and it's something that is very good to be able to do.
Deb, what about your mom's country connection? I mean, 2 episodes of the Grand Ole Opry.
Well, she, believe it or not, people don't know this, she was a pretty big star in Nashville with her recordings with Jimmy Wakely. And she became an honorary member of the Grand Ole Opry. And she was on the charts for like forever. Johnny Mercer was actually Johnny Mercer's idea because he could hear something in Margaret's voice that she was able to understand country music and how to deliver it to the audience. And I think that stems back from Richard, her father, teaching her to sing the song the way it was written. So we just saw Margaret singing Hank Williams the way he wrote it. And that's why she was so well accepted. A lot of back then, crossover was not readily acceptable. There were a few people that could. Tony Bennett had a big hit, a couple big hits in Nashville. There were a few artists that were able to do popular and then do country. There was a big divide, and Margaret was one of them, and she was pretty popular in Nashville. So she could take any song and translate it the way the songwriter wrote it. I think the last song you're going to play, it demonstrates exactly what I'm talking about. the writer, the composer. I think you'll understand. That's all I have to say.
Deb, before we go to that, Dream the musical, what was the one for my baby?
Johnny Mercer's song. It was
from a rehearsal for Dream the musical.
They were in rehearsal for, they might, I don't know if they were in New York rehearsing, but they also did a lot of work in Nashville to try it out, you know, to get the bugs out of it and to add and take out and add things in. But I remember I came to see the show, I mean, several times when it was on Broadway in 1997. And I came between a matinee and an evening performance. And I walked her to the wings where she was going to enter to sing that song. And she walks over to the table, sits down and sings it just like you heard it. And it couldn't have been me making her nervous or whatever, but when she got to the table, the orchestra started to play the intro and she started singing another Johnny Mercer song. And I'm standing next to the stage manager and he's talking into his mic to the other stage manager and the people control, you know, the sound people. Oh my God, she's singing the wrong song. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I think she caught it and just very professionally slipped right into it and finished the song. I don't think anyone was the wiser, but this poor stage manager. Felt sorry for him.
Sure. Deb, we'll let your mom end this party with that song, but before we go to that, is there anything you want to let folks know about?
Oh, yes. Well, first of all, I want to thank you so much. You did such an incredible job creating this and asking Richard and I to be a part of it. It's been a wonderful experience, and I hope people that are watching this or are going to be watching it will enjoy Margaret Whiting, because as far as I'm concerned, she was the greatest American vocalist we've ever had. But Kathy and I are doing some other projects, and we will know the centennial year is not over yet. And we will be letting you know on social media or however Kathy decides to let you know what we're going to be doing. It's going to be really great. We also might be releasing some never heard or never published songs that Margaret had recorded, like lost songs. And we're very excited about that. I also wanted to give a shout out to Ron Stanridge, who is part of our family. He is part of the team. He is the one who takes care and manages and runs Margaret's Facebook page. And it's a work of art. The things he finds, Kathy will call me up and go, where did he find that picture? I mean, it's just amazing what he finds and the stories, and he's such a great writer, and he does it with love. Definitely. You can definitely tell how much he loved Margaret. And I just appreciate him so much. So Ron, love you, babe. And I want to thank everybody for listening. Richard, thank you for coming on the journey with us. And just keep listening to Margaret. Go to her Facebook page and listen to her music, because she's the greatest. Kathy, thank you again so much.
One final question. Are the two of you still dining out on My Ideal?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, we are.
Except smaller portions.
Yeah, very small, like maybe an appetizer.
Deb, why did you pick this last song, this clip? Why did you pick it?
Well, it was written by Johnny Meyer, who was a very dear friend of Margaret's. And I think, and I hope everyone understands after listening to all her songs tonight, this describes Margaret to a T. I don't want to take anything away from the song, but the music is beautiful. The words are haunting, and it kills me every time I hear it.
All my life, I've sung for my supper. I poured out the feeling. I've entered on cue. Songs are made out of lyrics and music. When do the words come true? All my life and reaching, singing of sunshine, stars in the blue, endless nights dreaming of rainbows. When do the words come true? All those words, tears and laughter, ever after, deep as the sea. All those words for other people, never for me. All these songs I've sung with conviction. I really dug deeply. I gave them their due. Songs, it's time you finally repaid me. When do the words come true? All my life is standing backstage there, mouthing the lyric, running it through. You have heard the nights of my heartbreak. When do the words come true? All my life is breathing and phrasing and technically striving, learning to do. I can make you stand up and cheer me. Still the words don't come true. Writers give me lyrics revealing depths of feeling so very strong. What you hear is not the singer, just a song. Oh, whatever its value, my songs were honest. This much you knew. Don't I get just one shining hour, one tiny token, one little windfall? When do the words, when do the words come true?